Deputy Mayor Rowan O'Neill-Stevens was on Sean's show this morning. I'm sorry, I didn't listen to the interview. I should have, but I didn't. And it's all to do with, as you've probably worked out by now, the Suter Gallery in Nelson. Now, Nelson's a really interesting place. For years, they used to win Top Town. It was a sort of, I don't know, multi-sports. It was our first attempt at reality TV, I think, in a funny sort of way, where all the
I remember
towns of
Top
New
Town
Zealand
right at the
used to
end of it.
compete against each other. Yeah, and Nelson was sort of a perennial winner of that. They then won every year the top town in New Zealand. In other words, the best city in the country. And they've won it for years, Josh. North and South would do. They'd look at things like crime, productivity, quality of schools, health services and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that Nelson wouldn't win it on that now. Anyhow, and they would always say Nelson was the place to live. Weather, obviously. And it is now probably one of the most desired provincial cities in New Zealand. It was the most. It would now be one of. I think I'd definitely put Napier up there. You might think of other provincial cities or towns that could rival it. Just in my neck of the woods, for example, Central Otago's gone mad. Queenstown, Wanaka, Cromwell, that sort of golden triangle, they've gone mad as well. For a variety of reasons. Again, nothing to do, can I tell you, with health services, because they're shocking. But anyhow, putting all that to one side, Nelson is one of those places. But it always also had a reputation, Nelson, for attracting, shall we say, a bohemian element. All right? There was always the sort of slightly alternative lifestylists with there who smoked way too much cannabis. And although they might live in places like Motueka, which sort of suited them, it's a name, was sort of redolent, Motueka. Oh, that's where you would live if you're a druggie. Golden Bay was the preferred area. They'd just go over the hill into Golden Bay, and you'd just see a whole bunch of hippie types smoking dope, walking in bare feet with tie-dyed apparel, and completely off their trolley, off their face. Well, it was Golden Bay. Certainly my experience of it. Anyhow, that bohemian element has never really left Nelson, despite a significant number of white people, mostly upper class, middle class white people, retiring there or seeking to live there, because largely of its climate and its beaches and its wineries, and because, well, frankly, it's trendy, liberal trendy. You know what I mean? So Napier's not liberal trendy. Napier's sort of normal, but not Nelson. Nelson's a bit like, can I use you another analogy? It's a bit like a teal electorate in inner city Melbourne or Sydney, where you're white and you earn enough money to be liberal, so you can say lovely things about Maori folk and gang members and mentally ill folk, because you've got so much money to insulate yourself from them, and they can't afford to live with you live. So they'll say, you know what I mean? You are a place in which I can afford to be generous with my thoughts. Yes, that's the best way, because I've insulated myself economically from all the bad people. And Nelson's that sort of place. Anyhow, the Suter Gallery. The Suter Gallery, as if you've listened to Sean's show this morning, I'm sure you have, is displaying an art installation featuring a flag called with a New Zealand flag, which has got stenciled on it in white, "Please walk on me." It is an art installation by a Maori activist, Diane Prince, who I seem to remember as the partner of Dun Mihaka. Remember Dun Mihaka, the Maori activist? Yeah, we used to call him Dung Mihaka because he was that smelly. Dung Mihaka, and I'm pretty sure she was his partner. Anyhow, she has been had an exhibition curated by another Maori activist, ironically, because the exhibition curator is Gina Matchett. And she is supposedly an artist as well. I think what they do is hardly considered art. We'll come to that in a second. But she, at the Suter Gallery, fully funded by the people of Nelson, has curated this exhibition called Flagging the Future. All right. And essentially, the argument is that, and it's not art, okay? So it doesn't look like art, it doesn't smell like art, it doesn't walk like art, it's not art, okay? And somewhere along the line, the artistic community became wankers on an industrial scale. That was the problem, you know. So that they elevated onanism, and particularly their own, to a scale that just 99% of New Zealanders won't walk into an art gallery because they go there looking for paintings or sculptures that look like paintings or sculptures, and they go and see, well, something like Diane Prince's Flagging the Future, which is a collection of sticks and a New Zealand flag on the ground with stenciled on it, "Please walk on me." Now, you see, that's not art, is it? In fact, it's the sort of thing that my 8-year-old child, no, my 3-year-old child might do if they were bored one afternoon in the playpen. You know, it's that sort of art. It's called installation art. Installation art's an oxymoron. If it's got the word installation in, it's not art. But there you go. Good on the people of Nelson paying for it. Now, the ironically, there's exhibition art happening on a daily basis too, because there is a Destiny New Zealand church member, another Maori lass by the name of Ruth Tipu, who is apparently going into the Suter Art Gallery every day and picking up said flag so people can't walk with it and draping it over the said bunch of sticks. My koro went to war, she said, my grandfather, I assume, in the Maori battalion and fought for this country, said Ruth Tipu, under this flag. What a disgraceful act to all those that died in the war for their country, our country, my country. And can I just say, Ruth, from the deepest to darkest part of Central Otago, good on you, girl. Sounds like you're my kind of artist. Anyhow, now, this would be all very interesting, but for the fact that there is mass horror, outrage, shock from a large number of people also resident in Nelson, not only at the New Zealand flag being ritually abused at the invitation of said Maori activist Diane Prince and the curator Gina Matchett and the Suter Art Gallery, one would expect, but also because of the defence of this installation of the Deputy Mayor Rowan O'Neill-Stevens, who I've got to say is in the sort of Benjamin Bussey character. It sort of looks the same, speaks the same, and to be honest with you, I think he's got the same sort of politics. Why Nick Smith, the mayor, ex-national mayor, member of parliament and mayor of Nelson, made him deputy mayor? I would suggest that's just one of those gestures that national MPs do. Doesn't make any sense, but there you go. Anyhow, now you would expect Deputy Mayor Rowan O'Neill-Stevens to be defending this particular artwork on the basis of, well, this is artistic expression. We've just got to get used to people insulting us. This is what art does, which is bollocks, but, you know, there's the argument. Except, unfortunately for the Deputy Mayor of Nelson, he went just a wee bit too far. He said that the exhibition, quote, was painfully relevant because there's been a significant rise in direct attacks against Te Tiriti o Waitangi and against the Maori recently. At that point you go, oh, you've just crossed a line, haven't you? I mean, you're now not defending freedom of expression. You're actually suggesting that Maori activism and a particularly minority political view deserves ratepayer support in Nelson, and that this isn't a piece of art anymore. It is an answer to direct attacks, quote unquote, against Te Tiriti o Waitangi and against Maori recently. And then he goes on to say further, Prince's works are powerful statements and provocations against a status quo that is built upon violent colonization, a status quo that continues to deliver inequities of every manifestation. So now we know the Deputy Mayor isn't supporting this as freedom of artistic expression. He's defending this as activism, stuff you, ratepayer funded, and by the way, here's my middle digit from O'Neill Stevens this morning and yesterday in defence of the Suter Gallery exhibition. Listen, I don't mind art being art. I don't mind art being challenging. But this is deliberately designed insult of white people and, as Ruth Tipu noted, of Maori folk who have fought under that flag and sacrificed their lives for what that flag represents. Now, Diane Prince is a well-known and decades-long agent provocateur for Maori activism. She wants people to get upset, and she'll be rubbing her hands this morning and every day in which upset is being expressed. But all I'm saying, and I guess this is what I say to the young Deputy Mayor of Nelson, but also to all those fellow travellers, those liberal lefties, those wowsers and woofers, I'm just saying this morning. If that were the Maori sovereignty flag, you know, the one that's displayed prominently on Waitangi Day, if this was the Muslim, some sort of Muslim flag, if this was the flag of, oh, I don't know, Samoa, do you think you'd be so benign in your, shall we say, not only acceptance of this artwork, but in the case of the Deputy Mayor of Nelson, its active promotion? I think the reason that the Deputy Mayor, Rowan O'Neill Stevens, is supporting this installation at the Suter Gallery is very simple. It's anti-white. It's meant to be anti-white. And white people are fair game. White people in this country in 2025 are the new Jews. They are the new blacks. They are the new group that you can, the new mentally ill. They're a group that you can now, with impunity, attack, criticise, cauterise, condemn even, with not a worry. Because, well, they're the gingers, aren't they, of modern society. And it's fair call and free rein to have a go at them on a daily basis. And we white people are not meant to strike back. We're not meant to protest. We're meant to turn the other cheek and the other cheek and the other cheek and the other cheek. We're meant to say, that's fine. We're meant to be craven. We're meant to actually surrender. We're actually meant to admit that Diane Prince and the Deputy Mayor of Nelson are right, that we are bastards and there is no saving us. There is nothing we can do, that we have been born white, and as a consequence of being born white, we are going to be criticised, cauterised, condemned for the rest of our lives. Well, that's fine. They might be the view of the Deputy Mayor of Nelson. That might be the view of Diane Prince. That might be the view of the Suter Art Gallery. That might be the view of the exhibition curator, Gina Matchich. But can I just say on behalf of white people here, it's not going to work. It doesn't demean us. We are not provoked. We don't care. You are a bunch of tossers. All you're demonstrating to us is your tosserdom at the end of the day. And we will continue to live our happy, productive, tax-paying lives so that you can continue to welsh and sponge off us. All right? Have a great day. Have a great weekend. We're coming up to support King's birth. It's King's birthday weekend coming up. Yeah. Our colonial association with our wonderful heritage and past, the one that civilized you, the one that gave you freedom of speech, the one that gave you opportunities to insult us, and the one that doesn't turn the other cheek, but smiles and says, you poor bastards. Those are my thoughts this morning. What are yours?